alongside the solidarity marches and occupations in support of Palestine, there were some Jewish students who were siding with the anti-Israel um, occupiers of the campus, and some people describe these people who would sort of, you know, do invoke certain mitzvot as being in support of the Palestinians and kind of hijack Judaism really and describe it as just invert it really to find a way to support the anti-Israel mob. Some people describe these as self-hating Jews. And I wondered what your thoughts were on that term and what should our approach be as a Jewish community to Jews who threaten the Jewish people in a way.
You're talking about secular Jews or
I mean,
those
those who are
Arab Jews?
deeply anti-Israel, Jews who are deeply anti-Israel. Because some people say, no, we've got to try to find a way to talk to them, guide them. And others say they have to be called out publicly, they have to be slammed, and they have to be excommunicated.
Yeah, but are we talking about the
Oh, do you mean
guys?
like Naturi Carter? Or, to be honest, does it matter the difference whether it's the secular or the religious?
Yeah, because the religious ones are saying it in the name of God. They're saying
Hmm.
that that's what Judaism demands.
Well, the secular will invoke the mitzvot. At some of these campuses, they did a Passover seder in solidarity with the Palestinians. Now they are not. They would not describe themselves as religious. They might take Judaism in this context in order to support the cause.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, we've had this in every generation. How many Jews were communists, supporting the communists as the communists were destroying Jews?
Hmm.
How many people back in the times of Hanukkah were supporting the enemy? They were Hellenized. I'm sure that it happened in Egypt too. The sad thing is, they believed that if they're supporting the enemy, which is like saying, oh, we're different, we're different, you don't have to hate us. We're not like those Jews.
We're the good Jews.
They actually believe that they will be safe.
Hmm.
So it's desperation for safety, but it never worked. The Jewish communists were all rounded up and killed. Even the German Jews, who till the last minute didn't believe that Hitler would hate them, they were Germans.
Hmm.
They were intermarried. They were more German than Jewish in their behavior. Didn't save them. On the contrary, the enemy loses respect for people who don't respect themselves.
Hmm.
So if you'll turn on your own people, how can I trust you not to turn on me?
Hmm.
If you're sacrificing your own family members, how much can I trust you? So it never worked. It's a sad mistake, but it's desperation, terrible fear.
So, what should our approach be? To love them or to hate them?
Well, to have compassion. It's very sad. I would hate to be in their shoes. Too frightened to be proud of their Judaism or Jewishness. That's sad. You know, during the Entebbe raid, when they first took all the hostages from the France Air flight. There were about 300 people on the plane. They separated the Jews from the non-Jews. They took everybody's passport and identifying Jewish names, they separated Jews from non-Jews, and they allowed the non-Jews to go free. So of the 300, there were 100 Jews. As they were calling the names, most of the Jewish names were Israeli, and the passport was Israeli. They called one name. It was the woman terrorist, the German woman. She was calling the names, and she said something like Shlomo Schwartz to the side with the Jews. And this guy gets up and he says, no, my passport is Austrian. I'm Austrian. She said, Shlomo Schwartz over there. He said, no, you're making a mistake. Look at the passport. I'm Austrian. I'm not Israeli. Anyway, they dragged him off. Later that night, the man was crying. And the pilot, the French pilot, who to his credit refused to leave, although he wasn't Jewish and was free to go, he said, no, I'm staying with my passengers until everyone is. He was walking around trying to calm people down. And this man was crying. He walked over and he said, get yourself together. You're frightening the children. We'll be fine. We'll get out of this. He said, I'm not crying over our situation. I can't forgive myself for what I did this morning. He said, what did you do this morning? He said, I claimed not to be a Jew. Can't forgive myself. Jews are being moved to the right and I wanted to go to the left. I can't forgive myself. And the pilot said, oh, I understand that. You're trying to save your life. It's perfectly logical and sensible that you would do that. Why are you feeling guilty? The man said, you'll never understand.
Wow.
He was so ashamed that he had experienced that moment of weakness.
That's powerful.
Yeah. So it's very sad. These people are suffering under such a illusion or delusion. You actually think you're being safer this way?
Mm. I heard Rudy Rochman saying that he understands it as like someone that's a partner in an abusive relationship. The abused one has three responses. One is to fight back, one is to just be passive, and the other is to justify the abuser in order to protect themselves, to make, Stockholm syndrome. Do you think that's what's going on?
Yes. Don't say anything insulting or disagreeable, because then they'll hate you. Oh, then they'll hate you.
Yeah.
Right now, he's in the middle of beating you.
Yeah. Yeah. The irony is that actually a lot of people who claim to be standing up for Israel on a more subtle level also have that mentality with regard to what they think Israel can and should do and the extent to which we need to appease America and appease the world.
But the tragedy is that we sometimes feel that.
Yeah.
It's a 2,000-year-old problem, because when you're abused for 2,000 years, it's pretty damaging psychologically.
Mm. Mm.
But we have survived all of that. We will certainly survive this. Because, and this may be a little controversial, but calling it anti-Semitism is a mistake. The people marching on campuses are not anti-Semitic. They're out of their minds. They don't even know which river and which sea they're chanting about. And they couldn't care less. In fact, they're not even sure who a Jew is. And they don't care. This is not anti-Semitism. This is a symptom of a people without rudders. They have no idea what's right, what's wrong, what's true, what's false. They have no idea what's worthy of their support and what is not.
But they know the Jews are going to give that clarity.
It's the vacuum. They're suffering from a vacuum, not an act of hatred, but a confusion as to who are we supposed to hate anyway. Calling it anti-Semitism is giving it too much credit. Because even anti-Semitism can be considered a cause, a belief, a policy. There's no policy, there's no cause, and there's no belief. It's just the flailings of people with no direction, with no mooring, with no anchor. And in a second, it can turn around.
Yeah.
This is not Nazism.
Hi everybody, thanks for watching. If you want to watch another one, click here. If you want to subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest JTV content, click here. And if you're feeling really keen, you can click the join button down below underneath this video, where you can get perks including early access to new videos and private live discussions with me, where we can talk about JTV content and strategy moving forward, and I'll get to hear from you. Thanks again for watching.